These super wide monitors are a wet dream for many gamers, but before you head out and buy one for yourself, there are a lot of things you need to know first. I have exclusively used ultrawide monitors for the past 8 years or so, and today I'll share with you all of my experiences that I have encountered throughout the years, particularly when it comes to gaming only. Okay, so to get it out of the way real quick, I'm mostly referring to 31:9 monitors when I say the name ultrawide in this video. We're going to call 32:9 monitors like this as superwide in this video instead, because that is what the WSGF has been calling them. A general rule of thumb though, if a game works for superwide monitors like this one, then it will most probably work with ultrawide monitors, no problems at all. But not the other way around. I won't talk about the user experience of using an ultrawide monitor for the first time, since that is not the point of this video. I'm jumping straight into the compatibility issues. I was once a fool thinking that I can just go out, buy an ultrawide monitor, hook it up to my PC and start playing all of my favorite games with this brand new ultrawide aspect ratio. It's not that straightforward, unfortunately. It all depends on the game developers themselves. Even if a game allows you to go wider than 16:9 aspect ratio, there's no clear answer to whether or not it works flawlessly. Most of the time there's a catch, or maybe a few catches more like. Starting with the games that have native ultrawide and superwide monitor support. Surprisingly, Ubisoft games, the entire Assassin's Creed franchise and Far Cry games all work with ultrawide monitors. They are magnificent, though in the WSGF there is another mod to remove the cutscene black bars if you want to. The Witcher 3 also works fantastically as well, same goes to the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy, which also works flawlessly with ultrawide monitors. And surprisingly, even Genshin Impact works well with ultrawide and superwide monitors as well. That's kind of unexpected since it's a mobile game after all, right? However, even if games do support ultrawide monitors, there is yet another thing to consider, which is the HUD placement or the heads-up display, as in your health bar, minimaps, and all of those things. There are games that constrain the HUD elements into a 16:9 aspect ratio, while some just let them move to the corners of the screen. And personally, I do like all of the HUD elements constrained to a 16:9 aspect ratio, because it's very annoying if we just want to look at crucial information and we have to turn our necks around to look at the corners of the screen. And there are also many indie games that work flawlessly with ultrawide and superwide monitors too, like Ahead in Time for example. But this game highlights an issue with ultrawide and superwide gaming. You see, the natural vision of our eyes is whatever we are looking straight on is in focus, and anything that is in our peripheral vision will be a blurry mess. Some 3D games try to emulate the peripheral vision by adding stretch corners or something like that, those kind of distortion. For me personally, I just find it to be uncomfortable and it's just nauseating sometimes. Moving the camera around will cause the distortion part to be a real mess, is all I can say. And of course, some games do offer built-in FOV or field of view slider to adjust how far or close the camera should be relative to your character. Adjusting the FOV to be wider will cause the camera to be further away, hence having even more extreme distortions at the corners of the screen. Adjusting the FOV to be a bit narrower will have less distortion, but your character will be too near to the camera instead. You will have to find a perfect balance of what FOV that you personally prefer. There are a lot of games that require a different level of hacky mods as well. There are some games that just don't require hacky mods, like the new God of War. It works flawlessly with ultra-wide monitors, but when it comes to super wide monitors like this one, we'll have to download and run something called flawless widescreen, more on that later. One of the games that requires a more advanced level of hacky mod is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Just like the God of War for PC, this game actually works fine with ultrawide monitors, but for superwide monitors, you need to do a hex edit and also a registry edit just to make it work with superwide monitors. Then there are some games that are just outright rubbish and won't work well with anything wider than 16:9, like the new Final Fantasy VII Remake for PC, This game is an example of a bad port with bad ultrawide and bad superwide monitor support as well, even though it is considered to be a AAA game and we are paying $70 for this game. I have to tip my hat off to the community, as they are the ones who fixed the game and made it mostly work with 21:9 monitors. Many parts of the game are still broken, like cinematics are all in 16:9 aspect ratio, but it's pre-rendered anyway, and some cutscenes are just cropped and the developers didn't even make it larger than 16:9. I guess this is also the best time to talk about the flawless widescreen utility. Well, it's a utility that gathers all of the hacky mods for whatever games you want to play. Let's just say God of War, for example. Once you launch flawless widescreen, you have a list of games that is supported or have a lot of those well-known hacks and mods available, so you can just enable or disable whatever options that you want to modify your game. So for example, God of War, you have 32:9 support through flawless widescreen, and I think you also have an FOV slider there. So yeah, these are just some of the examples available on flawless widescreen. Okay, so that is a very quick introduction about gaming on ultrawide and superwide monitors. Obviously, I cannot remember all of the games that I've played throughout the years because I've just played way too many, and that is why I'm grateful for websites like WSGF, also known as Widescreen Gaming Forum. They have an expansive list of games with ultrawide and superwide support documented. For each game, they also have a section for known solutions and issues, and you can just read it all up and see how you can make that particular game to work with your ultrawide or superwide monitor. But what about competitive games though? Well, CSGO is literally the best example here. This game has native 21:9 support, which is fantastic for ultrawide gamers. And it's not just some shoddy zoomed in shot of a 16:9 aspect ratio to make it look like 21:9. I'm looking at you, Overwatch. But when you're in a competition, then every single monitor is locked down to 16:9 aspect ratio only. Otherwise, it will be unfair to other players. So in conclusion, ultrawide and superwide gaming is an experience like no other. However, not all games work with ultrawide or superwide monitors. Some may work with mods, some may not. But even if a game works with these monitors, it doesn't always feel good to actually play those games with an ultrawide monitor or superwide monitor. You need to know what you're getting into. For all I can say, after using an ultrawide monitor for more than 8 years or so, I am still loving it and I am never going back to a traditional 16:9 monitor. So that's it. That's all we have to share with you about gaming on an ultrawide or superwide monitor. If you have any additional questions, do leave them down in the comment section below. I'll try my best to answer them, and we'll see you guys in the next video.